In React, props, short for properties, are a mechanism for passing data from a parent component to a child component. Props are read-only and cannot be modified by the child component. They represent data that the child component can use to render itself. Key concepts of props. Passing props. Props are passed to a child component as attributes when the component is used. Accessing props. In a functional component, props are passed as an argument to the function, and in a class component, they are accessed via this .props. Props are immutable. Props cannot be modified by the child component. They should be used as is. Example of passing and using props in a functional component. / parent component. Function app. Const user equals. Name, John. Age, 30. Return. Div. User info name equals user.name age equals user.age / div. / child component. Function user info, props. Return. Div. h1 name, props.name / h1. ph, props.age / p. / div. Export default app. In this example, the app component passes the name and age as props to the userinfo component. The userinfo component receives these props and displays them. Example of using props in a class component. Import React, component from React. Class userinfo extends component. Render. Return. Div. h1 name, this.props.name / h1. ph, this.props.age / p. / div. Export default user info. Default props. You can define default props for a component using default props. These will be used if a parent component doesn't provide specific values. Function user info, props. Return. Div. h1 name, props.name / h1. ph, props.age / p. / div. Userinfo.default props equals. Name, anonymous. Age, unknown. Export default user info. In this case, if no name or age is provided by the parent component, anonymous and unknown will be displayed. Prop types. React allows you to define the types of props a component should receive using the prop types library. Import prop types from prop types. Function user info, props. Return. Div. h1 name, props.name / h1. ph, props.age / p. / div. Userinfo.proptypes equals. Name, proptypes.string. Is required. Age, proptypes.number. Is required. Export default user info. Here, proptypes ensures that name must be a string and age must be a number, and both are required. Props vs state. Props, passed from parent to child, immutable. State, managed within the component, mutable by the component itself.